The ocean holds ancient memories in its depths. Each wave that touches the shore carries countless stories, just as your Cancer moon carries the emotional insights of generations within its tides. Take a moment to feel the subtle currents moving through your being right now. That deep sensitivity you've always carried isn't a weakness to overcome. It's a sophisticated instrument of consciousness, perfectly calibrated to receive the unspoken narratives that flow beneath the surface of life. When functioning in its natural state, your Cancer moon bestows profound gifts of emotional intelligence and intuitive perception. Like the ocean itself, you possess an innate ability to receive, hold, and transform emotional energy. This placement grants you an extraordinary capacity for nurturing not just others, but the very seeds of possibility within every situation you encounter. Your unafflicted Cancer moon manifests as a deep emotional presence that creates sanctuary wherever you go. You naturally understand the unspoken needs of others, offering comfort without words, creating safety through your very being. This emotional attunement allows you to navigate relationships with profound insight, sensing exactly what others need before they can even articulate it themselves. In its pure expression, your Cancer moon gives you access to the collective emotional knowledge of humanity. You're able to tap into ancestral memories, understanding patterns that extend far beyond your personal experience. This connection to the deeper currents of life grants you an almost prophetic ability to sense what's brewing beneath the surface of situations. Your natural state is one of emotional fluidity, able to feel deeply while maintaining your center, like the depths of the ocean remaining still despite surface storms. This placement blesses you with extraordinary resilience, not because you're impervious to pain, but because you understand the natural rhythm of emotional tides. However, when the moon in Cancer faces affliction, these gifts can become sources of profound challenge. The very sensitivity that allows you to navigate emotional depths with grace can become overwhelming when wounded. Let's explore how the three core afflictions, what we know in astrology as starvation, shame, and agitation, uniquely manifest through your Cancer moon's waters. Emotional starvation through the Cancer moon creates a peculiar form of hunger, an insatiable longing for nurturing that no amount of external care seems to satisfy. Like a tide pool cut off from the ocean, you might find yourself desperately seeking emotional sustenance while simultaneously fearing it. This deprivation often stems from early experiences where your emotional needs were either overlooked or inconsistently met, leading to a deep sense of inner emptiness that can feel bottomless. When shame afflicts your Cancer moon, it manifests as a profound sense of wrong-being that goes beyond specific actions or experiences. You might feel fundamentally flawed in your emotional nature, as if your sensitivity itself is a mistake. This guilt often leads to creating elaborate shells of protection, hiding your true emotional depth behind walls of apparent self-sufficiency or emotional distance. Agitation through the Cancer moon creates a state of constant unrest, like waters that cannot settle, continuously stirred by winds of anxiety and uncertainty. This can manifest as difficulty finding emotional ground, a sense of being perpetually unsettled, as if you're being tossed about by emotional currents beyond your control. You might find yourself oscillating between intense emotional engagement and complete withdrawal, unable to find the still point within the storm. These afflictions aren't random cruel twists of fate. They're sophisticated initiations designed to deepen your emotional understanding. Each challenge serves as a teacher, showing you how to navigate the depths while maintaining your center. The very experiences that feel like obstacles are actually doorways to profound understanding. The path through these afflictions isn't about becoming less sensitive. It's about developing a more comprehensive relationship with your emotional nature. Like learning to navigate powerful ocean currents, you're called to understand the patterns within what appears chaotic, to find stability, not despite the depths, but because of them. As we explore how these afflictions manifest through each house of your chart, remember that every challenge carries within it a seed of transformation. Your wounds aren't mistakes to be corrected, but portals to profound psychological shifts. So let's journey through these sacred waters together, understanding how each house offers unique opportunities for healing and growth. In the first house, your Cancer moon is like an emotional beacon, constantly pulling you toward the need to define yourself in relation to others. Affliction here often leads to feeling invisible or inadequate. Perhaps as a child, your need for attention or emotional connection was overlooked, leaving you to question whether you deserve the space you take up. But here's the hidden gift. This affliction is your guide, accompanying you on the path you need to follow to reclaim your sense of self. Instead of shrinking to fit in, you are being called to stand tall in your authenticity. When you can embrace your sensitivity as your strength, you become a beacon of compassion for others. Your presence can heal, not because you demand attention, but because you embody the power of vulnerability. When the moon is afflicted in Cancer in the second house, you may constantly feel emotionally starved or insecure about your value, both materially and emotionally. Perhaps in your past, love was conditioned on what you could provide, leading to an ever-present fear that you're not enough. Yet, this struggle is a profound lesson in abundance. The moon here invites you to discover that true security comes from within. When you stop measuring your worth by material possessions or external validation, you tap into a deeper wellspring of self-love, where your emotional world has the power to create a sense of wealth that transcends anything the material world can offer. In the third house, the afflicted Cancer moon may struggle with communication, especially when emotional needs feel unmet. You might find yourself withdrawing or overcompensating by speaking excessively, trying to fill the void of emotional insecurity. This placement teaches you that communication is more than just words. It's the language of the heart. Your true gift lies in learning to express your emotional depth with clarity and compassion. Embrace your sensitivity and allow it to guide you in connecting with others on a soul-deep level. In doing so, you become a conduit for emotional wisdom, transforming your need to be heard into a blessing for those who need healing. In the fourth house, pertaining to the home, family, and emotional foundation, the Cancer moon's natural domain, affliction may manifest as deep emotional wounds from early home life. Perhaps your emotional needs were inconsistently met, leading to a sense of abandonment or unworthiness. The home, which should feel like a sanctuary, might instead feel like a battleground or a place of constant chaos. The lesson here is profound. True home is not a physical space, it's a state of being. You are being called to create a sanctuary within yourself. When you stop seeking external validation and instead find your emotional center, you create an unshakable foundation. You become your own refuge, and in turn, you can offer that same sense of security and love to those around you. When Cancer moon is afflicted in the fifth house, creativity and self-expression may be blocked by feelings of inadequacy or guilt. Perhaps you learned early on that joy or play was an indulgence you couldn't afford, or that expressing yourself freely could lead to shame. However, this affliction holds the key to unlocking your creative potential. Embrace your sensitivity as an integral part of your creative process. Instead of repressing or hiding your emotions, use them as the fuel for artistic expression. In doing so, you transform your inner turmoil into a work of art, each brushstroke, each note, an expression of the emotional depth that is uniquely yours. Afflictions to the Cancer moon in the sixth house may manifest as a compulsive need to care for others at the expense of your own emotional health. You may feel as if you can only find emotional fulfillment through service, often neglecting your own needs in the process. But the truth is, your deepest healing lies in balancing the scales. By learning to care for yourself as deeply as you care for others, you unlock a new level of service, one that is nourishing, not draining. The lesson is that emotional balance leads to physical balance, and in turn, your ability to serve others becomes an expression of self-love rather than self-sacrifice. When the Cancer moon is afflicted in the seventh house, emotional turbulence in relationships may feel like the norm. You may fear abandonment or cling too tightly to those you love, believing that without them, you'll be emotionally adrift. This attachment to external sources of emotional security may lead to cycles of frustration and disappointment. However, you are learning that true emotional security comes from within, and only when you can hold space for your own feelings can you fully show up for others. The lesson here is one of emotional maturity. Relationships are not about seeking validation, but about sharing your truth in a balanced, compassionate way. In the eighth house, a house that talks about transformation, shared resources, and intimacy, an afflicted Cancer moon may experience deep emotional intensity in intimate relationships, often feeling emotionally overwhelmed or vulnerable. The fear of losing oneself in another can lead to emotional withdrawal or a tendency to control others. The transformative power of this placement lies in surrendering to the flow of emotions. By learning to trust in the intimacy of emotional exchange, you create the space for profound transformation. Your sensitivity becomes the catalyst for deep emotional and spiritual growth, teaching you that vulnerability is not weakness, but the greatest source of strength. When the Cancer moon is afflicted in the ninth house, there may be an emotional struggle with the search for meaning and purpose. You may find that your search for knowledge and truth is often colored by insecurity, leading to restless seeking or an inability to settle into a coherent worldview. This affliction offers the gift of emotional understanding through intellectual exploration. Your deep connection to the world can be channeled into a profound understanding of spiritual truths. Once you find inner peace, your emotional depth will allow you to engage with philosophy and higher learning in a way that transcends intellectual knowledge. It becomes a lived experience. In the 10th house, the afflicted Cancer moon may struggle with public perception and career, feeling that your emotional needs conflict with professional aspirations. You may fear that showing vulnerability in your career will lead to rejection or failure, leading you to suppress your feelings in the workplace. But the true lesson here is to integrate your emotional authenticity into your career. When you can embrace your nurturing qualities and bring them into your professional life, you become a leader who guides with empathy and wisdom. Your emotional intelligence is your greatest asset, and it has the power to transform not only your own career, but also the lives of those around you. In the 11th house, an afflicted Cancer moon may lead to struggles with belonging or feeling emotionally disconnected from others. Perhaps, as a child, you felt emotionally isolated or that your needs didn't fit the collective expectations of your community. Yet, this struggle becomes the gift of understanding true belonging. You are learning that your emotional world is valid, and that your sensitivity is exactly what allows you to connect with others on a deep, meaningful level. The key here is to find a community that nurtures your emotional depth, allowing you to shine without sacrificing your authentic self. Finally, in the 12th house, an afflicted Cancer moon may lead to emotional repression or hidden wounds. You may carry unresolved pain from your past hidden deep within your subconscious, often manifesting as an unconscious fear of rejection or abandonment. The lesson of this placement is the power of emotional liberation. By facing these deep, hidden wounds and allowing yourself to heal, you uncover a wellspring of inner strength and wisdom. Your emotional journey, when embraced with compassion and patience, becomes a profound path of spiritual awakening. Your Cancer moon is not a simple astrological placement. It is a sacred thread woven into the fabric of your soul's journey. It speaks to the very core of your inner being, guiding you through life's deepest currents with a sensitivity that isn't a flaw, but a profound gift. Every wave of feeling you experience, every moment of vulnerability, carries with it a story, a lesson, and a perception that transcends the surface of your everyday life. The afflictions of your Cancer moon, whether they manifest as withdrawal, overattachment, or moments of intense vulnerability, are not signs of frailty, but invitations to deepen your understanding of yourself and your place in the world. These challenges, difficult as they may be, are the very pathways through which you learn to navigate your inner depths while keeping your equilibrium intact. They are your soul's most potent guides, showing you how to move through life with grace, sensitivity, and a deep comprehension of the collective rhythms that bind us all. As you embrace the insight embedded in your Cancer moon, you begin to understand that security isn't found in external approval, but in trusting your sensitivity and learning to honor your internal rhythms. Like the moon itself, you are meant to flow through phases, times of fullness, times of retreat, each phase offering you new ways to heal, to grow, and to serve not just yourself but others as well. Your gift of emotional depth is your unique contribution to the world, reminding others that their feelings are sacred and that true strength lies in our ability to feel deeply without becoming overwhelmed. In this journey, you are learning not to suppress or fight your internal nature, but to work with it, honoring your need for rest, reflection, and renewal, while simultaneously offering your nurturing energy to those who need it most. This is your journey, one of self-discovery, emotional mastery, and ultimately the ability to create deep, meaningful connections with yourself and others. Trust in your Cancer Moon's gifts, for they are the sacred tools that will help you navigate the depths of life with clarity, compassion, and a profound sense of purpose. As we've journeyed through the houses, witnessing how your Cancer Moon's gifts and challenges manifest in different areas of life, I hope one truth became clear. Your emotional depth isn't a burden to bear, but a wellspring of insight that guides you and those around you toward true healing. The journey through your emotional depths requires more than intellectual understanding. Your Cancer Moon calls for embodied practices that honor both your sensitivity and your strength. Let these following exercises serve as anchors as you navigate your inner waters. Begin with the Tidal breath practice, a gentle yet profound way to regulate your nervous system. Rest one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. As you inhale, imagine drawing the ocean's waters up through your feet, filling your being with cleansing energy. As you exhale, release any residue you've been carrying for others. This simple practice helps distinguish between your own inner currents and those you've absorbed from your environment. Your emotional body holds ancestral wisdom in its cells. The emotional mapping practice invites you to explore these deeper waters safely. Lie down and scan your body slowly, noting where you carry tension. Rather than trying to change these sensations, simply witness them with curiosity. Notice how feelings move like waves through your being, teaching you about the natural rhythm of feeling and release. Create an emotional sanctuary practice for times when the world feels too intense. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Surround yourself with elements that soothe your senses, soft textures, gentle sounds, calming scents. Allow yourself to simply be without needing to process or understand anything. This practice helps your nervous system remember its natural state of balance. The moon mirror practice supports healthy emotional boundaries. Stand before a mirror in dim light. Gaze softly at your reflection while placing one hand on your heart. Speak these words: I honor my sensitivity. I trust my inner wisdom. I choose which energies to carry. This ritual strengthens your ability to remain centered while staying open to genuine connection. For times when emotions feel overwhelming, embrace the water vessel practice. Imagine your being as a clear vessel filled with water. When strong feelings arise, watch how they move through this vessel without trying to change them. Notice how your awareness creates space around even the most intense emotions. This practice develops your capacity to hold difficult feelings without becoming submerged in them. The Ancestral Waters meditation allows you to work consciously with inherited emotional patterns. Sit quietly and envision a vast ocean before you. See how it contains the emotional memories of all your ancestors. With each breath, feel their strength supporting you. Let their wisdom flow through you, knowing you're not alone in your emotional journey. Your body carries profound intelligence about emotional boundaries. The boundary dancing practice invites you to explore this wisdom through movement. Put on music that resonates with your current emotional state. Let your body move freely, noticing how it naturally creates space around itself. This following somatic exploration teaches you about your authentic yes and no beyond words. When you feel disconnected from your center, the ocean floor practice can help you reconnect. Imagine descending to the ocean floor where all is still despite surface storms. Feel the stillness in your bones. Let it remind you that beneath emotional waves, your core remains peaceful. This practice helps you maintain presence during emotional intensity. To conclude, here is something I keep saying in all my videos. Healing isn't linear. Like the moon itself, you'll move through phases of intensity and quiet, gathering insight through each cycle. Trust that every wave of feeling carries a message. Every emotional storm brings clarity in its wake. Your Cancer Moon bestows both profound sensitivity and extraordinary resilience. These practices help you embrace both gifts fully, transforming what once felt like vulnerability into your greatest strength. Through this dedicated work with your emotional body, you become a living bridge between ancient wisdom and present healing. If you feel called to explore these depths more fully, to understand how your specific chart configurations influence your emotional patterns, I'm here to support your journey. Whether through focused single sessions or extended work together, we can unlock the profound wisdom waiting within your emotional waters. Until we meet again, trust the sacred intelligence of your feeling nature. Thank you for diving deep into these waters with me. Share this wisdom if it resonates, subscribe to help support my work, and let me know in the comments how these practices touch your journey.